the reality is like if they can make you sick, then they can make money off of you. And
Yeah, if they can make money off you being sick, then they'll make you sick.
yes. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. I mean, even on a base level, like you don't even have to go that deep, but on a base level, we know that there are certain food additives and farming practices that are banned in other countries.
Almost every other country. Yeah.
Yeah, and other countries have a lot better health outcomes than we do. So like, let's at least start there.
Sure.
And that's something that he's really bringing attention to, which I think is powerful.
Yeah, I think like at the end of the day, like there's so much money and power involved in a lot of these different areas that like it may not be that we see all of this totally like obliterated and the great eye in the sky opens and we can like have this like amazing health.
Illuminati?
No, definitely not.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like you said, like if we can change like some basic things
Yeah.
like that, those will make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is a lack of education,
Yeah.
which I would love to see, not only holding corporations accountable to changing their practices and at least giving us the standards that they use in other countries already, but also a push for education on some level
yes.
to the population about making healthy choices.
Especially like physicians, even like we hear a great deal about how like nutrition is such a minuscule part of like getting your doctorate degree as like a MD, which is like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So like you go to a doctor's visit and your doctor's like just as out of shape as you are, or, they recommend these like old practices of like, eliminate red meats and eliminate salt and eliminate eggs, and because they're
Science
high
that's
in cholesterol.
40 years old.
Yeah, it's so old, and it's like, hold up, you're telling people not to like consume like quality nutrients that are going to be beneficial for them. Like,
yeah, it's an issue, and I think I mean education in schools. There's no reason our 6, 7, 8-year-olds shouldn't be learning about the difference between real food and processed food.
Even what they offer at schools, like I was
absolutely.
My daughter just started at a public school here in the area, and it was like a time warp, dude, back to when I was in elementary school. Just like even in the cafeteria of like what they're serving, it's mac and cheese, it's frozen pizzas, it's the carton milk, the green beans out of the can that's all nasty. It's like, again, kind of, I get you got to mass produce it. Also, their children, like my kids eat like pizza and chicken nuggets often, but it's like there's better sources of that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so anyways.
Absolutely. And I love the movement. I have my own Make America Healthy Again hat. I'm stoked about it. But
Maha
also
doesn't like really roll off the tongue, but I'm here.
It sounds like a noise. Maha. Like
a South Park.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not gonna save you. RFK is not gonna save you. Trump's not gonna save you.
Sure.
Like, even if nothing changes with the way that corporations are making food, even if nothing changes in our grocery stores, you can still be healthy.
Come on now.
You gotta take responsibility.
We need like that church organ playing right now, dude. We're landing the plane here.
That's right, baby. It comes down to personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, you, at the end of the day, what you take in your hand and put in your mouth is on you 100%. It's not on anyone else.
Yeah.
And if you make better decisions, then it's going to drive corporations to change their practices, because if we don't buy the shit that they're selling, that they're just here to make money. So they're gonna make adjustments. But I think it's the lack of education, and it's all a good step in the right direction. It's just, but at the end of the day, we got to be responsible for ourselves.
I think that's a great like transition there too, because like kind of what we wanted to discuss today was like barriers and ownership in your own health journey. So that it really is that. I feel like we're so conditioned these days to wait around for like some answer to like save us, and it's like you have the power, like just to offer that truth, like we talked about earlier. Like, you have the power to control your circumstance, and you have the power, like you said, to control what you put in your body and how you feel yourself. And even if it may seem like it's inaccessible. I mean, you could buy any store-bought berries, strawberries, you name it, put it in some water, put some baking soda on it, and you're going to clean it from what it is sprayed with. Like, so it's about, again, not being ignorant, educating yourself, making quality decisions, and not waiting around for someone to like save you to like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I think to get a little bit more zoomed out, I think this is kind of the basis of any healthy relationship, whether it's like you and your kids or you and your significant other or you and food or you and your, you know, your own fitness. Like, we have a tendency to either over blame or over accept blame. And the same thing with like a coach client relationship, right? We have to be responsible for ourselves, and then we can be loving and supportive, but you know, I can't blame Kellogg's for making me fat.
Yeah.
Right?
Kellogg's didn't tell you, they marketed themselves well, but they didn't tell you to eat like 10 bowls of cereal this week. Like, instead of a nutritious breakfast to start your day.
Yeah, exactly. And then also like the 8-year-old that's fat can't over accept blame for being fat because, you know, like
product of their environment.
Yeah, it's a product of his environment. And, you know, whether it's his parents or whether it is the Kellogg's bullshit that they're serving at school, you know, we have to educate him, but it's being responsible and not pointing the finger, right? Not over blaming someone else, and not over accepting blame when, you know, someone's in that victim mentality of like, I can't do it, I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I love you, I support you, but you can figure this out.
You can.
Here are the tools.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you know, that's again just to kind of zoom out in any relationship, but that applies to so many layers, especially around our health and what the topic we're talking about right now.
Yeah, and if you're in that camp, like, I don't know that any, you know, if you had like an upbringing where you had these poor behaviors that were instilled in you, like, because like, I don't think, like, when someone's like overweight, you kind of hear a lot of times they'll say like, oh, it's my genetics. I always like to push back on that, because what I like to like say or think is that it's not necessarily genetics. It's more about like the nurturing and what was taught and what was allowed. And if that's you and you're in that situation and you're in a spot where maybe there's some unhealth and some decondition and maybe some like disease, if it's diabetes or heart issues like taking place, like, you're not to be blamed for that. Like, that's not your fault, but you do still have the ability to learn, to educate yourself, and to make changes from where you're at. This doesn't have to be where you live forever.
It may not necessarily be your fault, but it's still your responsibility
To change.
Yeah. It's still your reality to live with. So you can say it's not my fault all day. This is just who I am. But like, at the end of the day, what is that doing for you?
Totally.
You can, you know.
Yeah, and don't accept the mediocrity of that life. Like, man.
Or do if you want, but there's a way out if you want it.
It's that fork in the road. You can continue to live this route. You can continue to make these decisions, or you can go this direction and change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that applies to so much in our lives.